vacuum forming. And I've been doing research. I read some books, did some online stuff, and spent a couple months working on it. I had some designs. I didn't get very far for a while, and finally, actually, what I did is I actually did a class at school. It was kind of a free study class, so I just kind of basically I was in the class, and I just said my goal in class is to make a vacuum forming. So for a couple of semesters at school, I focused on it, and it was great doing it at school because I had help. But I also what was great about my particular class is one of the people in the class was a former toy designer who actually had experience with vacuum forming, so actually gave me some pointers and such. He's actually famous for being the inventor of the fruit. So he's been taking our class at PSU, so he's in the class. He actually had seen the Mattel. He worked at Mattel for a while, so he told me about the vacuum forming table at Mattel. There, the plastic stage where it is, and the piece comes out into plastic. But that's probably like really, really expensive stuff. So I did some research. Probably the main source I found, probably the most informative, the Top Builders Molding and Casting Handbook by Thurston James. Basically this guy was the head of the theater department at UCLA. And there's a whole bunch of moldings out at the back. It's just about the vacuum forming. He has a very professional machine, and it says in the introduction that it's the type of thing that you'd make at a high school, where you get the auto shop and the metal shop and the wood shop to all contribute different parts. So it's a little bit beyond what I could do, but if you could accomplish this, it tells you how to wind your own coils for your oven. So it's pretty in-depth, and it's just a little bit beyond me, but all the information, there's a lot of useful information, even just about the process, and there are different design elements I did incorporate into my final design. And then I also did a couple online searches, and like this one printout, which is the website that had this is actually a group of people who make stormtrooper armor. So it's obviously not too bad, and they've got and this one's just a simple shop back hooked up to a table, which is pretty much the basic design for my table here. With they talk about getting the proper fittings here to attach onto the bottom of the hole, and fitting the vacuum on there. And of course, and then there's this other design says it's Ralis Khan's vacuum forming, and currently he's done stuff for music videos and the TV show Angel using his vacuum forming setup, and he has this setup with the email cup above, so you drop your plastic down onto the piece, which is one of the elements I went with here. And so going back and forth through all these, I came up with my own cobbled together design. So I went with using the shop back, and the one here they suggest using at least like a 3.0 and adds up to a 4.0, and I've got 4.5 horsepower, so it should be pretty powerful. The table the table size is I think the frame, because the plastic sheets you get come from the factory. They come 4 foot by 8 foot. So, like as it's suggested in this book, they made their machine 2 foot by 2 foot, so that they could easily get the plastic cut and use all the sheet of plastic. While on this site where they make the stormtrooper armor, they made their frame so it fits in their oven, which means it's not exactly 2 foot by 2 foot. It's like 2 foot by like 1.5 foot. And therefore, when they cut up their 8 foot by 4 foot sheet of plastic, they have like pieces of plastic that are that big that they can't vacuum clean. And I personally, I can't stand the waste, that kind of waste. So I went the 2 foot by 2 foot, and when I order the plastic, I just tell them to cut it right there. So I've got a couple of different. The type of plastic is kind of important. The first time I tried it, I got a plastic called polycarbonate, which it's a clear plastic, and they told me that it's always used for vacuum forming, but I discovered it's like really hard to heat up. That
where do you get the plastics?
I get mine at Interstate Plastics.
And that's here in Boise.
It's in Boise. It's on Centurion. It's like across from the Costco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Up there in the industrial area.
Yeah. So
okay.
Then there's another plastic place in there, but it's like you only have to buy bulk or something. Yeah.
For those of you cosplayers out there interested cosplayers, we do have the cosplay sign-up sheet. The cosplay sign-up sheet is at registration. Cosplay begins at 2. Cosplay does begin at 2. Now, things that you're going to want to know. On this, we've got the name of the group, name of the cosplayers, character or costume that you're in, area for the introduction that'll be read to the audience, whether or not you have musics, things like that for you to fill out. So we have lots of different areas for you, lots of different groups that you can be in. Whether or not this is a skit or not, that's to be determined by you. We do have a cosplay competition here. Friends of Fandemonium, go ahead, enter the cosplay competition. You'd be surprised how much fun you can have. The sign-up sheet is at registration.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, styrene is an easier plastic to work with. Yeah. And I've been using 0.03 mil and 0.04 mil. I actually learned recently that the Stormtrooper armor is done with 0.08 mil, and Interstate Plastic doesn't carry that. So I got to figure something out there. But yeah. So the other. Now I've also. I don't even know what this is called, but I just asked for a clear plastic that was similar to styrene. So I don't even know what it's called. But yeah, I've got that. I think that one's in the 0.03 mil. Yeah, and the frame. The frame is what holds the plastic when you vacuum form it. And I tried some other things with it. I did one out of like window screen things, and it had little plastic pieces in the corner. And the first time I tried it, just the plastic things melted and it came apart. So one of the guys in my class actually welded this frame together for me. And then I originally just had these holes in it, and I actually put I'd have to drill a hole in the plastic and screw it together, but that wasn't going to work, especially when I switched to the styrene from the polycarbonate. I can't see where the hole is through the styrene. So then I had to go back and I welded on these clamps. So you have the wing nut and washers so that you can. So that helps hold the plastic. Well, it hinges with the plastic area. Although I have to say that the hardest part of the setup is the heating element, and that's still something I want to upgrade at some point. Because the first time, just tried using a heat gun, which is just ridiculous. Because it's a large, 2 foot by 2 foot area, and the heat gun only heats up like 3 inches at a time. So I figured out real quick that wasn't going to work. Then I tried heat lamps, which again I had 4, which this design was originally made to hang the heat lamps. And I had 4 heat lamps, and they just made 4 little melted areas on the plastic. Then I looked into a space heater, which and luckily I figured out that wasn't going to work before I disassembled it, because those things have a thing, if you tilt them over, they turn off. So I was looking at disabling that so I can mount it And luckily I figured out, I just held the plastic next to it, like that wasn't going to work. I was also told that the blowing of the heat probably wasn't a good idea. Because it's more supposed to be, it'd probably mess up your pattern and such. But then, finally I found, so right here, these.
You want some help with that, yeah?
You can see they're individual, like, burners.
Hot plates.
Yeah, they were like $9 at Walmart. Yeah, they're all, so I got 4 of these to cover the 2-foot by 2-foot area. But the problem is, though, is you're not designed to be more than 1 or 2 of them on a circuit breaker. So unfortunately, it's just one of the $4 a place. I can't have more than 2 of these on a circuit breaker. So I have a vacuum, so I need 3 circuit breakers to run this, which is kind of, but I seem to always find them and make it work. I mean, when I'm at home, I have in the garage, I have it against the wall, there's one outlet, then just on the other side, near the water heater, there's another outlet, and then I have an extension cord going inside the house, so just inside the garage. When I was at school, when I was first making it, it was pretty simple. There were, it wasn't too hard to find the 3 circuit breakers because there was lots of, it was an art lab set up with lots of outlets and such. But yeah, so that's the downside of this, is that I have to get it to spread out. Again, it does work though. So then, so I'm still hoping to do something where like. This Alice Canton's vacuum forming table actually used a electric grill with so that, which I looked for that, and they don't make electric grills. They only make gas grills. Which would be really bad for this setup.
Check the thrift stores. I see them all the time in thrift stores.
Well, my mom works for Idaho Youth Ranch, so we actually went to the storehouse for the Idaho Youth Ranch stores.
Really?
They didn't have anything. Wow. So so finding that, I haven't looked in a stove heating element, and they had like a good one for like $30. But to make it work so you can adjust the heat, you need another part that's like over $100, and if you miswire that part, it destroys it.
Oh.
So that wasn't good over.
We should be able to scavenge an old stove.
So, but yeah, again, this book actually tells you how to make your oven where you actually get nichrome wired and oil it, which I don't know, I may just have to do that one of these days. And so I'm open to find, actually Borneo offered to make a element. He says he has the equipment, but he's too busy running Fandemonium to ever find time to do that. So, so I got good. Start it up. Okay. Fire it up. Well, of course, another important element is where you're actually going to be vacuum forming. And I'm going to try one of these. This is something I made for the action figure displays I'm selling out there. I have a stepped hill made out of wood, glued the wood together, and then covered up with the foil to give it a kind of a rock texture. And then I have it on.
How well does the texture translate through in the vacuum forming?
Pretty good. I mean, you can see them out there on the table, and I've got a whole bunch of these, and I've got them paint different colors. But what I'm thinking about doing for this one, though, is what I found is after I vacuum form them, if you have it upside down in reverse, it would make a really nice pond. So I want to make a pond, and I normally have a 12-inch by 18-inch base for the displays, but for this one I'm going to use my 18-inch by 18-inch base, so I get a larger base to build my pond around. So just fun idea, a little different, but yeah. We put it on with this particular design because there's, again, with the professional design, when you go out, there's actually, you have the one hole for the vacuum on the bottom, but then there's a whole nother layer, and then you have a hole every inch, and that's how you get like a more even vacuum. But the thing is, that's also on designs where you have a vacuum chamber. But this is, so my experience, it seems to appear that with the shop vac, it works better with the one hole and having one large item over it. I've been having trouble trying to do lots of small items with this setup. But
I wonder if pegboard would work for you.
I tried that. I did one of these and a couple small rocks on it. And I got less detail on this than I did just this.
Attention all fans. Attention all fans of Fandemonium. Magic Dragon Games in the dealer room is now having a buy one, get one half off. Buy one, get one half off all anime in the dealer room at Magic Dragon Games, as well as any and all miniatures, 10% discount until 3 p.m. Any and all miniatures, 10% off until 3 p.m. and buy one, get one half off anime at Magic Dragon Games in the dealer room until 3 p.m.
Use a sheet of 1.0 format and 1.1. I've actually noticed sometimes there's actually a slight difference. One of the sides is a little bit more shiny than the other. For some reason, I seem to like the less shiny side, more texture to it. I'm not even sure which is which of this. Yeah, the frame is on the right side.
What keeps the plastic from slipping out of the frame?
The clamps. Well, I also at one point when I was thinking of us first, something I did when I first made it is I added this grip tape, but I don't think it really does any good. What it is just the pressure of the metal. You know,
So you cinch those clamps down pretty hard then?
Yeah, I give them pretty much as hard as I can. I find sometimes the gloves actually help getting it just a little bit tighter. I'm actually going to need probably need some help with this one. Because I've got down to it, I can do it by myself, but it's nice to have someone else to push the vacuum button. Because there's, yeah, so I get these as tight as I can. To suspend the plastic here, I'm using the angle of the hole so I can just put these pins right through here, which basically support them in the corner, and to help get it in there. Plastic in place underneath the heating element and above the pattern. And actually the official term for what you're vacuuming from over is actually called the pattern. Ready to plug in the elements. It takes about 5 minutes for the plastic to heat up properly. Usually what happens is as it starts to heat up, it kind of warps, but it's still hard. And then as it starts to soften, the wrinkles just can't go out until it starts drooping. And then usually I can feel the corner and if it's softened up, usually tell that it's about there. And I find it's usually around 4 or 5 minutes, depending on the plastic. For the heat up. And so I'm going to need help with the vacuum because usually what happens is when it's heated up, I take the pin out and I get it out, ready to go and then drop it real quickly. But when I'm find myself, I have to turn the vacuum on before I move it, because once I take out this pin and move it, I can't let go of it. So it's nice to have another person to turn the vacuum on. And you gotta check your
You're still on?
There's things I don't know if there's anything else put into these circuit breakers that's gonna.
Probably not. I think it's one circuit per outlet on these. Because I was having a problem in the hallway with my gain plug. You flip one circuit breaker, now it's only outlet fender.
It's starting to wrinkle, yeah. Just kind of. Once I drop it on there with the vacuum on, and the actual vacuuming around the pattern takes seconds. So I mean, it takes the most time just waiting for it to heat up. So yeah, once you drop it up down, drop the vacuum, drop it down, it's like, it's yeah, just a few seconds and it's like pretty much there. And so you really read it like that.
How solid does the pattern have to be?
Pretty solid. I mean, is it wood and hardwood and plaster are the most common, the most recommended. And this is, this is all wood.
Seems like it would probably swish if it was.
Yeah, if it's too soft, it's being vacuumed down.
And you never want to use anything like styrofoam to do your pattern out of.
Clay's better than styrofoam.
I once supported a clay piece with styrofoam underneath and the clay piece broke, which was actually the reason I started this. I was trying to make a general Grievous costume for my friend, so I did the Grievous mask. Finally did it after I got the vacuum foam working and it broke the clay piece I made. But it was supported by styrofoam. That's the thing about the way these components, it doesn't quite get all the way to the corners. That's why in the book, it tells you actually build the oven, so the elements go beyond, so the edge of your heating is beyond the edge of your process. Sometimes is that because you gotta get your pattern out of there. Yeah, because there's certain things. I mean, it's like with any kind of mold making, you get undercut. Your original's not going to come out. So, so that is one of the things that when your vacuum partner is like fighting, you really have to design your original for the vacuum foaming. You get like really tight corners in there. You'll get folds, like the plastic will fold up. Oh, that's
Yeah, you usually kill the heaters at this point if you're not doing the sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, unless but yeah, the thing with the foil is usually if you have texture like that, that might block onto your foil as just enough give. So you can usually get it out.
Shut up.
That's big enough to get 2 out of one piece. That's big enough to get 2 out of one piece of plastic.
Yeah, which sometimes I do. But sometimes, again, like I say, it's like it's too spread out. It's just. Again, I don't like waste, so it even bugs me. Now I'll cut this out here. And this border around here is not much you can do with it. I'm trying to come up with ways to make use of it. Like I'm seriously thinking about making a kit for like a junkyard diorama.
Nice.
It's actually cutting it up and painting it and say, okay, actually as an action figure playset, here's a pile of scrap metal. So I'm looking into stuff like that because I really dislike waste.
Make a long and narrow vacuum cleaning machine.
I'm not sure how well it
Well, like a 4-inch square vacuum, right?
But they can't get back and recycle it into new.
I don't know.
I think styrene is recyclable.
Depending on the plastic.
And of course, for this particular one, I wanted to go this way because I've been noticing as I've been doing this would make a really nice pond. So I'm probably actually going to paint this. I'm actually going to water this.
Fill it with, what's that plastic you use? Polyurethane resin.
No, I want water in there. I want to actually have the figures jump in the water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said that. I have a thing for water. In versus clothes, I'm going to actually work for a company that makes like waterfalls and ponds and cast concrete rock and such, which is kind of helped in the inspiration for this.
You could make molds to make your own custom paving stones.
Yeah.
That'd be big enough right there.
Then the possibilities. As long as you can figure out the pattern and to get it. This is how they make stormtrooper armor. This is how they make the plastic bubbles for packaging. Like you get an action figure packaging or any kind of those bubbles that go over the product are vacuum formed. It's thinner, cheaper plastic than this, but so I'm looking into doing armor with this. I don't know if I'm gonna actually do stormtrooper armor or something else, but it's something I've been wanting to do. I haven't quite gotten into that yet. Right now, the drawback of this setup with these elements though is I can't do another one for another hour.
Really?
Because these are still hot, and if I plug them in, they'll overheat and they'll turn off. So that's the downside of this. So I absolutely have to wait another. Otherwise, I'd do a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So I've only got an hour for the demonstration.
Yeah.
Already more than halfway through that. So would have been nice to be able to do more. But that's why I still would like to get a better heating element. Something that I can plug into one outlet. Something that doesn't overheat. Something that I don't have to wait a long time for it to cool down. But that's.
I think Greg and I could probably help you strip down an old oven and use the boiler element from it.
Well, when I first posted on the boards about doing this, I explained how my system worked. Hoping someone would say, "Oh, I get up." That's what So
I think we can. We'll have to get together after the con.
Yeah, which is kind of what I was hoping for because it works. So
Because we want one too. So
yeah.
Maybe we could team up, improve yours, and build ours.
If I know what could help it cool down faster, you get like a 8-inch box stand and make a thing that you can stick in there so it blows up on the elements.
Well, it's not just, it's like you can feel the top of this wood. It is hot right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty warm. And that's usually what I tell it takes about, close to an hour for it to not feel hot anymore.
pass your piece around now.
Oh. Oh yeah, of course then after you vacuum from, you gotta cut it out. I guess you're saying, careful with the knife, I usually use an X-Acto knife or a box cutter or something.
Careful with the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to, as always, sharp objects, to be careful.
How much does the sheet of this cost? How much does the sheet of plastic cost?
A sheet of plastic,
Okay.
the styrene, the 0.03 mil styrene, one sheet, having it cut, because they charge a little bit extra per cut, is like $15 for the styrene. But the polycarbonate, to have one sheet and to have it cut was like $60-something. So,
It would work too, but it had to heat it more, right?
well, yeah, I've never gotten the polycarbonate to work, because when I first tried it, well, yeah, there was at one point where I actually used the kiln at school. They had a kiln, I'd be able to frame it perfectly on top of it. And that was when I first tried it, and it's like the time it took to get from the kiln to the table was too long. And it just cooled down in that short time. And I do like the being up ahead, you just go straight down, which is one of the design in that book. Actually, you have the oven next to it and you flip it over. And it's again the guy I know, the toy designer, he suggested you want to go straight down, because if you go down at an angle, you'll stretch the plastic unevenly. Okay.
Boy, that does pick up fine detail.
Well, not that much. If you see the T-Rex skulls I have in my booth, there's a lot of detail on those that didn't show up in the plastic. But there's still a lot of detail that shows up.
Yeah.
I worked with one of those where you flip it over and it doesn't make a difference. It really is just, it's quick. It's a quick enough motion that it just like, and it's there. The vacuum does the rest and pulls it in. So.
Well, it might just be that because it's the hinges and stuff, and you're doing it. I mean, maybe what my friend was talking about was doing it by hand, coming down. Maybe that might be. But he's done, he knows, he's seen the machine at Mattel, which is some really high tech. The pattern actually goes up into the plastic. The plastic comes out of the oven and the pattern goes up into it. But he's talking about, I guess he's done a lot of vacuum for me at home too. He actually has adjustable frames, so he can do smaller pieces and such. But that's a lot more complicated to do. I mean, just getting this is pretty complicated for me. I had to, of course, I had to get a lot of help with the welding. Not that great. I did do some of these hinges and such later on, but so are there any particular questions?
So how do you connect the vacuum on the bottom?
Where do you get the fittings at?
Well, there's a lot of fittings back just from the hardware store. And what I actually had is I have this kind of rubber washer around so to help it squeeze into this PVC pipe, which is screwed onto this fitting, which is, in the book, in the one thing they talked about actually just getting a fitting that will screw onto there, but my mom was, because they wanted to save this, they want to mess it up with screwing in, so we've got all this other extra stuff that sticks in there.
Anything a higher power vacuum would get more detail? Going down tighter or something?
That's what I'm speculating. But, because one thing again, my friend, he was doubtful that this would get any detail. But again, that one website, they make Stormtrooper armor with less horsepower than this. They said that the 3.0 is 3.0 horsepower is good enough, and that the one person who was writing it saying they use a 4.0 and thought that was really cool. But I've got a 4.5.
Then again, the Stormtrooper armor doesn't have a lot of really fine details.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Looks like it's smooth. I'm wondering how a vacuum bottle setup would work versus the shop vac. Pull a vacuum in like propane tanks with.
That's what they have set up in the book. Yeah, but it's like Yeah, that's the, yeah.
The only problem with that idea is it makes your shop smell like rotten eggs.
If you use propane tanks.
If you use old propane tanks.
Yeah, which is one of the suggested things.
Yeah. We
Unless you can
still
actually find it.
have not figured out how to get rid of the rotten egg smell in those old propane tanks.
I think this book talks about actually being able to find proper actual vacuum tanks. Not just they suggest stuff like old propane tanks as an option. There's
Because he uses the vacuum bottle and the propane tanks and an old paint gun pot, pressure pot. When he's casting in RTV silicone, it pours on the pattern, and it's a liquid. And then you shock it with the vacuum, and that pulls all the bubbles out.
yeah, it's something I need to figure out. Well, I know that this will not work for that. The resin casting. That's why I just didn't. After I did this, the next semester, which was last semester, I did resin casting.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they talked about the teacher about that, with the rubbers and resin that we use in school, and that they set up a vacuum pump for that, so they get the bubbles out of it, rubber and resin. I was thinking, I could just put a bubble over this and use this. He said, no, this is not enough. This isn't anywhere near enough.
I got my rotary vane vacuum pump off the internet for $150. Thing looks like it's 50 years old, but it still works good.
And it'll pull 14 bar, won't it?
29 inches of vacuum. That's the most you can pull.
Yeah, about 14 bar.
What's the website for the surgery room?
No,
The printout doesn't have that
One more.
website.
Sorry.
It's Studio Creations something.
You can't pull.
StudioCreations.com, and the actual prototype of the armor is like /how-to. I meant to write it down and make sure I had it with me, and I forgot. Because I didn't. Yeah, and they, of course, they do Stormtrooper armor, they have Scout Trooper armor. I guess they were working on Clone Troopers and Rebel, and they've got all kinds of stuff. They even got a whole tutorial on Evil Ash.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a nice website.